Are you ready?
We ready, man.
Yep.
Let's do it.
You know who misrepresents the red pill?
Oh, shit. Who?
I'm going to say it.
Say it.
I'm going to say it.
Ooh, I'm dying to know now.
Take your time. Take your time.
Take your time, bro.
Fresh and fit.
Oh!
What's going on, family? I got my boy, Hotep Jesus in the motherfucking building. Let's go. So, tell me about yourself, man. Where you from? What are you doing? And why are you so damn successful, brother?
What's up, Authentic fam? Welcome back to another authentic conversation with Authentic Alphas and your host, Ayindei. So that was just a little clip from my boy, Hotep Jesus. If you're not familiar with him, go ahead and check out his channel and his content. Very interesting brother.
Right, exactly. Then the next generation is still fixated on the same type of distraction,
right,
rather than focusing on energy on self and what is self going to do as an individual. Yeah. And if you had all these individuals with that mindset, now you have a community with that mindset.
Correct.
And this is what's been holding the black community back forever because they're stuck in blame.
Correct.
They're stuck in blame mode. They're
Right.
stuck in the point of the finger.
Yeah.
And it's like my aunt used to always tell me, you can't control the actions and the behaviors of others.
Right.
All you can control is how you either respond or react.
Correct.
That's all you have absolute control over.
Correct.
So I agree with you 100% on that, brother. With that being said, let's jump in a little bit more. I understand that you're a father, so I want to get your personal take on the importance of fatherhood and just how you feel about it. How would you like to talk about it, describe it, and get into that subject?
Kids are going to do what you do, not what you say.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look at kids, I try to be the best version of myself so they follow suit. If they see you BSing, they're going to BS. If they see you studying or having a YouTube channel, like my son, he wants a YouTube channel because I got one. Right?
Yeah, okay.
So they emulate you.
Exactly.
So you always want to be mindful of the behaviors that you take on, the habits you take on, the language you use, how you talk about other people, the honor and respect you give those around you. And the kids will follow suit.
Right.
I do lectures with the kids. You know, I always pull them together and, you know, I do these lectures. We do readings from, you know, like right now we're doing a reading on Iceman, white supremacy, inheritance. Foreword was written by John Henry Clark. I forget the name of the author, but we're reading Iceman. So, you know, time. You know, what's the time you spend with the kids?
Right.
I always carve out a certain amount of time to spend with the kids to just refocus their mind because I know that the liberal education they get in that school is another huge distraction.
Okay. Well, with that being said, what is your views and opinions on the onus of our image as black men? What that means for us as black men, as well as this next generation young boys coming up, and how they see themselves through us and how we carry ourselves as men.
So today what we're going to talk about is obviously why Fresh and Fit make terrible ambassadors for the red pill community. Now, this is not something that I'm just now, you know, realizing or thinking. This is what we've been trying to say for over 6 months now, almost a year now that we've been trying to say this. And of course we're met with you're a hater and you're jealous and all this other bullshit. But of course, you know, that's not coming from most people. That's actually just coming from the Fresh and Fit fanboys, or stans as you call them. And what it reminds me of is whenever you would try to have like a rational or intellectual conversation about the so-called rappers or, you know, entertainers of the time, when I was way back in high school, you know what I'm saying? Me and my best friend, we used to be analyzing these dudes, their behaviors and things that they would say on record. And we noticed that a lot of this isn't really good for us. It's not good for us as a community. And it's misleading, you know, young people. Now, of course, at the time we were young people, but his grandmother was a Black Panther. His grandfather was also a Black Panther, but he was dead. He died in prison, standing for what he believed in. And, you know, I had a lot of uncles in my life. I had my grandfather in my life. So there was men. There were men that we could talk to, that we looked up to, that would make comments like this, or we would have conversations like this with grown-ass men. So we were a little bit, you know, more hip or aware of the differences between positive role models, you know, and these destructive role models that the media wants to give us. So we understood, you know, representation. We understood how we're portrayed based on the most popular of us. You know, and that's a common theme, of course, when you're talking about rap or you're talking about sports. If you're talking about music, the rappers represent where they from. It's like, yo, Kanye's from Chi-Town. Jay-Z is from Brooklyn. So automatically you're going to be a representation of where you're from, the community that you come from. It's the same thing with sports. If you're born and raised in a particular city, it would be like a dream to play ball for that city because you're representing your city. Now, of course, later when money comes into play, players, they're going to go where there's a better deal, where there's a better contract. But when you're playing in school and when you're playing in college, you know what I'm saying? When you're going to the league, it's like it would be awesome to represent where you're from. So there were many a times where I would look at these dudes and think to myself, is this how we want to be represented? Is this a good look for the young people to be, imitating these behaviors or to subscribe to this ideology or this philosophy? So let's check out another clip from a conversation that I had with Hotep a while back. And we're going to get into the meat of this conversation. But it was two things that made me say, all right, listen, I'm going to go ahead and talk about this. I came across a female commentator who put out a hit piece on Myron. And then shortly after that, I saw this comment from Hotep. And I was like, damn, this is exactly what, guys like myself, Duke and Dawn, Grover from the Tip Network, you know what I mean? Many other guys were noticing that this isn't going to be good for us in the long run as a community, as a so-called manosphere or red pill community. But now you have more and more people that personally know these guys and have actually worked with these guys who are saying the same shit we've been saying. But when we were saying it, we were haters. We're hating, we're jealous just because they have a bigger platform. All right, well, when you criticize a rapper wearing a dress and saying, yo, this isn't good for young guys, for young men to be looking at Young Thugger or Bad Bunny wearing nail polish and a dress, it's not a good look for our young boys to be looking at that as an example of masculinity. Oh, you're a hater, you're hating. I don't care how many records Bad Bunny sells. It's not a good look for him to be wearing a dress and nail polish. I don't care or know how many albums or downloads Young Thugger is selling. I wouldn't care. But what I do care about is when Young Boys is imitating that. So let's see what some more people that have actually worked with Fresh and Fit have to say.
It's viral yet again this week. They are not living their best lives, honey. So yeah, we are going to have to get all the way into this with some grown woman commentary, okay? Because we know over here we don't just spill the tea and gossip. We use these situations as teaching tools and we speak from a grown woman perspective. So yeah, I am more interested in exposing bad male pathology than we are the latest spectacle that they've made of themselves, because to be quite frank, they are going to continuously make fools of themselves.
So young men idolizing Myron and his rhetoric, that's bad enough as it is. And we already know how influential these guys are when you see how Fresh and Fit stands DM girls. When you see how they message girls and the type of shit that they say to the girls. Just recently I had another chick tell me that she kept going on there because it was good for her OnlyFans and whatnot, but then it ended up backfiring on her because guys were threatening to hack her IG. Now, that's interesting because my first assumption was that Myron hacked her IG because him and her had friction on the show pretty much every time she went on. And she was like, no, that's not what it was at all. Because my question was, well, how was it that you kept going on Fresh and Fit if every time Myron was trying to kick you off? Like, was he paying you to come back on? And she was like, no, I was going back on because every time I went on, my OnlyFans subscribers went up dramatically. I said, oh, okay, so what happened to your Instagram? Your Instagram got hacked. I was like, Myron hacked your Instagram. She was like, no. She was like, there were subs of the channel that kept on threatening me in my DMs that they were going to deactivate my Instagram, that they were going to shut down all of my IG accounts. And that's what ended up happening to her. So that's pretty interesting because I know for a fact that it's Myron that was deactivating mine and certain other content creators, but his behavior is influencing young guys. Young guys think, oh yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, that's what you do with a thought. When you don't like a chick and you don't like what she has to say, you deactivate her Instagram, you hack her IG. That's literally the first time that I heard Myron threatened to hack someone's IG. It was a female that he was upset with. And he's like, yo, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and have the hacker hack her IG. The things that he says to chicks in DMs when he's upset with them and he wants to like hurt their feelings or whatever, it's the same thing that his fans and his subs DM the chicks. So there's a direct correlation there that these guys are imitating his behavior and thinking like, yeah, this is how an alpha male conducts himself. Anyway, so that's one part of it. The next thing is how mainstream sees us, how women in general see us, and how guys that have nothing to do with the manosphere or know nothing about the red pill see us. Okay, the most popular person being the introduction. I, as well as many other content creators, have made this point many, many months ago, that what's going to happen is people that are not familiar with the manosphere, when they go to see what is this all about, the person that they're going to look at is whoever is the most popular.
Know that they already got chin checked by Brittany Renner just a couple of days ago on DJ Academic Show. I actually did do commentary on it, and I want you to check it out because I want to expose why Brittany Renner should not necessarily be celebrated as a hero in that situation, because there's a lot more going on underneath. But we have to compartmentalize, because remember, we're grown women over here and we do grown woman commentary. So we're gonna give her props because she did chin check in that clip. However, there's more to come on that entire podcast, but check out my thoughts on it a little bit later on after you finish this.
And that's in every community, in every industry, any subject, topic, or whatever. People who are not familiar with it are going to look at who or what is the most popular of it. And that's how they're going to judge the entire topic on is what example of it is most popular. Right? So many grown-ass men, because that's what grown-ass men do, grown, mature men, they have to analyze the past, the present, as well as predict the future. So we already saw that this is what was going to happen if Fresh and Fit were the most popular guys in the manosphere. What people think about them is what people are going to think about all of us. And that's not a good look.
An old friend of Myron Gaines, and yes, honeys, I know that's not his real name, but that's what he's known by, so that's what we're going by at this point, right? Somebody went on his old friend's IG that is actually private now and exposed that he was of the rainbow persuasion. And look, this should not come as a shock. So the pictures are floating all over the internet. Everybody's looking up, but look, I'm really kind of salty about this because 7 months ago, I did a video showing some disrespect of theirs. And in that video, I actually exposed those same pictures. If you actually go through these pictures of this fruity booty, you will see that when he was being exposed by this guy, Eric Wessel, they don't really like him. If you read what they actually said about him when they captioned the pictures, it's clear that there's a lot of disrespect there. And so I want to talk about that, as well as the fact that nobody should be surprised about, this dude being a pussy popper. There's no way you should be surprised. First of all, we're talking about someone that is a huge misogynist, right? So when you think about these men that have these huge problems with women, this great amount of disdain, but all they do is talk about them, and most of what they want to do is accessing them to humiliate them, make them look bad. That is a pure hatred for women. And what I found is that these men that have this pure hatred for them actually hate them.
I ran that clip not because we're trying to bash Myron about being a homo. I doubt very much that dude is gay. That's possible. I mean, he does have a lot of feminine tendencies and whatnot, but I don't think that. I mean, like I said, I doubt it. Okay, but the thing is, though, is that you already know that as a group, we're not liked. You know what I mean? You already know that the manosphere is something that mainstream hates and women hate. So the last thing you want to do is give them ammunition. So, of course, she's going to embellish it and she's going to run with it and she's going to try to really make a case that this dude, is somehow in the closet. Now, the issue is that if you listen to what she said, everything that she said is not even like a personal attack on Myron. It's an attack on the entire manosphere. So now we're all a bunch of angry dudes in the closet. See what I'm saying? And this is because of the way that he chooses to address women on the show. Now, I'm the one that brought that concept there, okay? And they had no organization. They had no idea what they were going to do and what they were going to talk about. All they knew is that they wanted to be in the manosphere, and Myron wanted to regurgitate the talking points of all these other content creators that came before him. That was their plan. That's all they knew. And then Fresh was going to sit there and nod his head and say, yep, yeah, man, yeah, man, yeah, man. That was their plan. For Fresh to just be the yes man, and for Myron to just regurgitate other people's talking points, none of which he experienced on his own or actually came to understand through dealing with these things as a quote-unquote man. Right? So my concept and my idea centered around being a buffer for this very type of criticism. Exactly what this female is saying is why I wanted to bring females into the manosphere in the first place as groups, so that we're not focusing on any one female. We're not, quote unquote, giving them the platform or giving them a pedestal, right? Like Myron said. But what we're doing is we have a group of women here so that the conversations about women can be had with women present, so that they can defend themselves, they can argue whatever feminine talking points they want to argue, and that you can use sophistication, right? Some intelligence, and learning and or knowing how to talk to women and conversate with women and get to a point with women without offending them. You could display that, right? And we could get our points across without being called misogynists, without being called women haters, without being called closet homos. That was the whole point of wanting to bring females into the space. That's why I wanted to do it. Myron used that opportunity to do the exact opposite, to attack the women, to embarrass the women, to belittle the women, to literally showcase misogyny. It's not a good look for us. So when I'm coming in here trying to bring the women to have these type of respectful conversations in this dialogue, it's not for me, it's for the entire manosphere to be seen in a better light, because I saw that that's what was missing. I already saw that we were being accused of being the male version of feminism, which is absolutely not what the manosphere is or represents. It's what it's becoming when you have the headliner being Myron. Myron literally is the opposite of feminism. He embodies the male version of feminism, which is just hate women and blame women. That's exactly what feminism is for women. It's hate men, blame men. So that's what he's contributed to the manosphere. He's made their accusations true now by being the personification of male version of feminism, right? So when I'm bringing that concept into the manosphere, it's because I saw that that's why those attacks were so easy. That's why it was so easy for the mainstream media to be lazy and say, oh, they're just a bunch of women haters. So I said, if I'm going to get involved in this community, I want to not only bring something new, but bring something that's useful, something that benefits us all. And now you see more and more content creators wanting to try to put together 1, 2, and 3 girls at a time and try to have these discussions. Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's some Ayindei shit right there. But it was never something that I wanted to keep to myself. In fact, if you look at when I parted ways with Fresh and Fit, the first thing I started doing was bringing that concept to other channels and other content creators. Donovan Sharp being one of them, who has been, coveting that for the longest. That's what he wants from Fresh and Fit. That's why he wants to get involved and engage with them, other than they help him and Rolo stay relevant. And we're going to get into that next, but let's finish with this.
And many of these men talk about, basically lowering standards, telling women that they need to lower their standards for them. They actually openly promote abuse of women, yelling at women, disrespecting women. This is because there is a hatred, and it's a hatred that's coming from a very, very organic place with these men. I also want you to think about, if you read the captions on these pictures, Myron Gaines, also known as, Fresh and Fit podcast, and he would be the fit person, of course. This guy actually was being disrespected by these white dudes that he used to roll with. They talked about him, called him the token and stuff like that, and maybe he thought it was funny, but if you really think about it, he wanted to take and transfer that same level of disrespect and disdain that those men had for him, and he wanted to basically project that onto women, and mainly black women. Y'all know he was actually in the news just a few weeks ago because he referred to black women as night riders. This is a serious thing, and I think that within the coming year, we're going to see lots of these dating coaches get exposed. He's not the first person that's been in this arena, that's been in this red pill manosphere conversation where they have an issue with black women and then they get exposed for being on the other team, because a lot of black men will never, ever have their own anything. A lot of them just don't have a masculine bone in their body. A lot of them are never the heads of the household. Their fathers weren't. So they don't have a lot of male instincts because they don't have the same experiences as most men. So you can't really even shame them into manhood. I just took this screenshot from obviously a black male complaining that basically because these men have 600,000 subs that they get a pass. They overlook that this man has been exposed for being in bed with another man, and they want to compare me and my platform to theirs. And that's another problem. When you see these men, honey, look, red flag. When you see them comparing men to women on any level, you have to understand that that is a bussy popper in disguise. There is no doubt in my mind that this man that made this comment is actually secretly LGBTQ. Okay, so now that I feel like we done got the grown woman conversation out the way, boo, it's time to drag. Did y'all think for 5 seconds that I was just gonna be all prim and professional in this video and breaking it down and that was it? Oh, no. Let the drill begin. I know he likes sucking dick. He looks like a motherfucker that likes to suck dick. You can tell. You can absolutely tell. It was so obvious. This is why he's so angry. This is why he's so mad, because it's got to be hard to sit up on your podcast and pretend that you are straight. And it's already bad enough that his co-host, funkier, his co-host, dude is ugly as hell, right?
So right there, she's telling you that the way we're perceived now is that we're all just trying to be mean to women. We all just hate women, and we're looking for opportunities now to bash women and hurt their feelings and deny women resources and deny women, proper treatment, not to be nice to them, not to be kind to them. Well, that's what this guy's preaching. And right now, he has the loudest microphone. So that's the message that is going to be the common understanding of us, is that we hate women and we want to hurt them. So we're all going to be hurt little boys now, and we're all closeted now. Thank you, Myron Gaines.
Talk about for a few minutes how we know you about him. Okay, we know you about him because you so damn emotional. You so angry. You so bitchy, right? We know he's about him, right? It's quite obvious, okay? You sitting up here mad and frustrated that you have to go before the world and live a lie, and you have to take it out on these women. And speaking of night riders, right? So we all know that the actual term night riders comes from the KKK, right? So this really, really puts it into perspective for me, you see, because this is a divested man, right? He's divested, right? Okay, because he likes to go to the other side. He don't want no black man, okay? He ain't no way he would ever get caught dead allowing the man that he is a co-host on his show with. He would not show him what a power bottom he is. No way. He reserves his pussy for the white man. And that's it. He don't want nobody up in that booty hole but Zaddy. Ain't that right, Myron? Why though? Because see, Myron does have some self-hate issues. It's obvious, right? So it's proximity to power for him, right? Proximity to the patriarchy. That's exactly what the issue is. He needs to be close to that power. This is why, he is so white male identified, if you will. It's completely obvious. If you look through his pictures, his older pictures, he's always hanging out with them. He's all like, this is why he's mad at black women, okay? He knows about this whole swirling movement that a lot of black women are interested in and going for. He is trying to eliminate the competition. When you think about men trying to tell men not to do certain things for women, not to be kind to women, not to be nice to them, you don't see why? Like, it just doesn't, there's not a bell that goes off in your head that tells you, yo, they want them to be mean for women because they want them to themselves.
Young boys coming up and how they see themselves through us and how we carry ourselves as men.
In the business world, you have something called likeness. And you can sue people based upon how they manipulate your likeness.
Exactly.
The black community has a problem with how their likeness is represented. It's wholly owned and controlled by white liberals, white socialists, Marxists, communists, Hollywood. If you look at China, there are certain things that Hollywood is not allowed to do with the likeness of a Chinese person.
Or even in their country. Certain movies don't get there if they don't fit the bill.
Correct. So Hollywood is not allowed to portray a Chinese person as a thief.
Exactly.
You have some serious problems.
Yep.
If you even not even bringing it to China, just having that movie out there, they're going to lobby against you.
All right, so there's a lot real quick to touch on right there. So I put that clip of me talking to Hotep to kind of show you where his head is at in addressing Myron and the way that he interacts with the women. When me and him spoke, we actually spoke specifically about the image of black men right now, and how we need to take onus of it, and we need to be in control of it because it's being misrepresented. And because it's misrepresented, it's misinterpreted. And that's exactly why he chose to call Myron out on this. So this is for the young, immature crowd that they tend to attract that doesn't understand the difference between constructive criticism, valid criticism, and hating. You hating. So no, Hotep is not hating.
Where there is a pot, there needs a Hotep Jesus to stir it.
Yes, sir. I love it. Let's stir it.
I'm gonna grab my spoon right now. I'm gonna stick it in the pot and I'm about to stir it up. Chat, I need you to have a seat. I need you to grab your nuts and make sure they're still there. So when I say this, I don't want to see you crying in the comments.
Let's do it.
For the people that watch the replay, I don't want to hear your comments in the comments either. Are you ready?
We ready, man. Yeah. Let's do it.
You know who misrepresents the red pill?
Oh shit. Who?
I'm gonna say it.
Say it.
I'm gonna say it.
Ooh, I'm dying to know.
Take your time. Take your time.
Take your time, bro.
Fresh and fit.
Oh!
Okay, explain.
Now it's a conversation.
Explain. See, I let the black guy say it.
See?
Myron got to tone it down.
Frank Castle.
He's got to study his elders. He's got to study Donovan. He's got to study Rolo. He's got to study EO. And he's got to study Kevin Samuels.
Tom Likas.
Huh?
You got to study Tom Likas too.
Okay. He's just, he caters to, I would say, any male under 25.
Okay.
After 25, you're just way too mature for Myron.
Yeah.
Okay, and it sucks that he has to keep preferencing that, and he has to keep on explaining himself that that's not where this is coming from. Now, the things that I'm saying about Myron, have been saying about Myron, I was saying when I was with them. That's why they were like, we got to get rid of him, because I was saying these things when I was with them, like, yo, dog, this isn't a good look, like kicking out the women especially. Now, again, for the weak-minded people with the low IQ, let me really try hard to explain this to you. Kicking the women out was my idea. Now, before you say, wait a minute, then you're a hypocrite, because shut up and listen. Kicking the women out was my idea, but not to be conducted in that way for that reason. What I was trying to tell Myron is, listen, I get it. You're not going to put up with, bad behavior or whatever. Yeah, I get it. But, you have to, ask the women to leave in a certain type of way that you show strength. You know what I'm saying? You show that you're in control, and that the women have to interact with us on our terms in this space.
So, Myron's rhetoric is on point.
Every time, man. He's getting better too, man.
He doesn't say the wrong things.
The delivery.
His delivery, it just like I know a whole bunch of grown men, and they like, yo, yeah, the show cool, but I can't watch it. And they can't watch it because you're speaking to people who are immature.
That was the point of bringing women in. Wasn't just like so that women could talk. Women have been talking for decades, but they've been talking in spaces where they control the narrative. They're on shows like Oprah and Dr. Phil, where the men can't say what they really want to say, but the women can say whatever they want to say. Women can say things just based on their feelings, no matter how disrespectful and untrue they are about men. But men have to, tote a very tight line, and they have to be very, very politically correct and very, 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 very conscious of what they're saying and very, very considerate and all this other type of shit. And we're not allowed to just tell the truth, let alone the blunt truth.
And that's my only issue.
Okay.
It's just like he speaks like a kid that just got out of high school, and I know he's not out of college, and I know
Right.
he's not that, right? He also comes off as somebody who has been hurt by women instead of somebody who hurts women. You know what I mean? And I don't mean physically.
No, I understand.
He doesn't have enough stoicism and resolve in his red pill.
I agree with you 100%. And I
trying to say is he's coming off like what's my man who just lost to Tyson Fury?
Deontay Wilder, you know about?
He's just throwing wild haymakers.
Yeah.
Mess it a little bit more and start boxing. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I'll put it to you this way. I agree with what you're saying, Hotep, but I think that's also a good thing because young guys don't watch guys like us.
You're just exploiting these dudes and taking these young, sad, lonely guys' money. That's what you're doing. You're doing the same thing that OnlyFans girls do. Myron is literally the male version of feminism while simultaneously being the male version of OnlyFans, exploiting, these pathetic dudes, these desperate dudes, taking their money just to interact with them.
In that famous car ride on the way to South Beach when we talked about everything, you said, I told Myron and Fresh, it's too much, too fast. Myron,
too young, too fast.
Too much, too young, too fast.
Right? And the first time I told him this was when he kicked females out before the show even started. That was the first time he kicked chicks out. And I was like, dude, it's bad enough you kicked them out without even talking to me because you don't know my relationship with them. But why would you kick these chicks off? You kicked them out off camera. So now you have no show to be had tonight. You have to cancel the show now because you have no females. And second, there was no benefit to that. You just wasted everybody's time, mine in particular. At least if you kick the girls out on camera, mind you, I'm talking about girls that deserve to be kicked out. At least if you kick them out on camera, at least you would still have a show, you would have a viral moment, and also a teachable moment. Because I thought that's what we were here to do. I thought we were trying to actually teach men how to deal with women and how to hold women accountable, right? Instigating reasons to kick women off the show to make a spectacle, that's not holding women accountable, and that's not teaching men how to do anything.
Quickly, he used to kick bitches out all the time. He said, okay, this is really starting to affect us negatively. He still kicks out disrespect to people, but he gives them a little bit more leeway. So I agree with you, Hotep. I think they're young. Right now they're young, dumb, and full of cum, but at this point, they are kind of the representative of us all, at least for the young guys. Then when they mature, when they figure, okay, women really aren't out to get us, it really just kind of depends on who you are, then you come and watch the Six, and you watch Hotep, you watch EO, and you watch Rolo, et cetera, et cetera.
If men did what Myron did, they would end up in jail or beat up by a white knight. Men would not get good results behaving like Myron. So how are you teaching? How are you leading? Oh, that's right, you're not.
Is it that this community is misrepresented by people who really do have influence?
It's pretty bad because the mainstream media is going to need a boogeyman. Always.
Yes, they are.
At the moment, I'd have to agree. Fresh and Fit are falling right into it.
Absolutely. And the mainstream media now has their boogeyman as far as the manosphere is concerned. Who was it before it was Myron? So If that's what you're going to do to get us on the map, that's not a good look. You know what I'm saying? We were actually better off being unheard of. We're better off being in some small little niche market that nobody mainstream has heard of than to be known for that. It's just like when I ask chicks if they know about Kevin Samuels. To this day, most women that I ask that, they have no idea who Kevin Samuels is. As popular as he is, still most people do not know who Kevin Samuels is, male and female, right? When I ask people, male or female, if they're familiar with Kevin Samuels, 90% of the time they're like, who? It's the truth. So, and then the ones that do know of him, most of them are actually really upset with what he's saying. But he's still getting the message through. That's still the truth. It's still a good message, and it's still actually useful for men, and it's useful for women, because there's a lot of women that are actually getting into relationships and getting married now because they consume his content and they subscribe to the ideology, right? And a lot of men now have a better understanding of what to look for, what to do within themselves, as well as what to tolerate from women. So that's working. And more what I value the most from Kevin Samuels is his ability to debate, his ability to have these conversations with women, and whatever women want to interpret it as he's bashing women or he's a misogynist or whatever, hey, that's just them being weak and making excuses. But Kevin Samuels is very respectful. This is a dude that starts every sentence with ma'am. So he is very respectful, but he's blunt and direct, and that's what men need to learn how to do with women. This guy right here is pointing out how Myron has terrible, if not any, debating skills whatsoever, but he's always acting like that's what he does. Dude, finding young girls, first of all, they're young, okay, so male or female, at that age, they're going to be dumb, right? The next thing is, you're picking the worst caliber of women. If you look at the show now, the quality has gone down dramatically on what girls that they've brought. Like, the quality went down months ago, and I was like, oh yeah, the quality of girls is getting worse. But now it's like, well, where are you finding these girls? You know what I'm saying? So you're bringing the most ghetto, most ratchet chicks there. I don't know if he's trying to prove that he doesn't have a bias against black women now. I don't know what he's trying to prove, bringing more and more. It's not that they're black girls, it's that you're bringing the Shaniquas, you're bringing the ghetto black girls. So you mean to tell me you can't bring classy black girls? Because when I brought black girls, you were telling them, oh, you're not like most black girls. Those are the type of black girls that I was bringing. Ones that were going to be classy and they were going to be well-spoken. But you're finding the most ratchet ghetto black girls to bring on. And the looks department of the girls aren't even attractive anymore that you're bringing on. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is that you're intentionally debating people that are weaker than you and have no experience talking or representing their ideas or anything like that. So you're basically a bully because you're picking on the weak to make you look strong. And then when it comes to debating men, Myron don't never want to debate no men. You don't want to debate me. You don't want to debate any guy that disagrees with you, except for, I think, Kevin Wilder or whatever. Like, maybe they tried to do something, but even Kev was saying that he wasn't really even letting him get his points out.
And I don't dislike those guys. I don't dislike the show, but they've created this flashiness of the red pill. The problem with Myron and Fresh is, well, like, one of them can't articulate himself at all, it doesn't seem, and then the other one doesn't articulate himself terribly well in debate. And a lot of what
are you talking about Myron? Because if you're talking about Myron, I disagree. I think Myron does very well articulating himself in debate. Or
he articulates. Well, what I mean by that is he articulates himself well in debate, but his points are. Here's what I'm saying: tactic when it comes to debate.
Okay.
A debate is the skill of debate is a skill in and of itself.
Okay.
The skill of debate is so seasoned that if you're really seasoned in debate, you can out debate somebody without the truth, without being right.
Yeah, that's not
without being right, without so that's the whole thing.
Hold on, let me make sure I heard act right.
And we're gonna have this great debate. But you said initially, like, I don't think there's much to really debate. Why?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
He said that Myron didn't think there was much to debate between he and Brittany, but then he goes into talk around her, like, you know what I'm saying? Tell her straight up, what do you want to debate? And, you know what I'm saying? Hand it to her. But like, he's like pretty much giving a whole synopsis of what the hell they talk about on the show. Everybody know what the fuck y'all talk about. So why don't you want to debate her? Because she's this, and this. How you can debate that?
Debate? Why?
Well, I mean,
look at him avoiding eye contact.
Here's the thing. We've always said it, like,
look at him avoiding eye contact.
Men and women, we're very different. We have opposing goals. Like, girls are trying to, get resources, time, attention out of guys. Guys are trying to get sex. And girls, a lot of the time, are trying to get...
Well, I guess since Ack is the one who asked him the question, but all right.
What they need to get out of dudes without necessarily giving it up. And some girls are good at it, some girls aren't. And then there's other girls that are kind of models for that are good at finessing dudes. And not to say that you're a finesser, I ain't saying that, but girls are able to, run laps around a lot of guys. And that's why our podcast exists, to help dudes out to understand, like, how women operate and how they move.
But he didn't answer the question.
Point of view.
threw this clip in there because this guy does a great job of explaining exactly what I meant when I said the interview with Brittany Renner was underwhelming. Go watch that video. Brittany Renner versus Fresh and Fit interview was underwhelming. And I explained in that video why. Well, the original one I put up, DJ Academics had it taken down, and that's fine. I have no problem with DJ Academics. But the original video, I showed the clips that were extremely underwhelming, right? Of course, he took it down, and then that has everybody messaging me like, you didn't see the whole video. You didn't see the whole video. Like, dude, I did see the whole video, and the entire video was underwhelming. And this guy is explaining exactly why, for the exact same reason that I felt like it was a waste. That was a great opportunity for them to practice what they preach, hold women accountable. It was a great opportunity for Myron to back up all the shit that he says about women just like Brittany Renner, if not Brittany Renner in particular. And then you mean to tell me that you get 4 feet across this chick and you ain't got nothing of any value to say? You're backtracking? You're the softest version of Myron we ever saw? What happened to Frank Castle? I was actually excited to see that. When I saw that interview existed, I was like, oh, okay, this is going to be great. I want to see how he matches up against Brittany. Now, I called it underwhelming because I know for a fact that not only would I have done a better job of addressing Brittany and quote-unquote holding her accountable, but I would have been able to make it a teachable moment and would have made some actual progress on that particular topic rather than just a bunch of guys sounding like they hating on another Instagram model. But what do you expect from guys that don't actually have any of the skill set that they act like they have? Myron just showcases that he not only doesn't know how to speak to black women, he doesn't know how to speak to any women. And he was intimidated by Brittany Renner. Whereas a real G, okay, a real alpha, a real host, a real commentary, a real debater would have jumped at that opportunity. Just like dude said, it would have been salivating, would have been drooling at the mouth for that opportunity. And what did he do with it? The same thing he does with an opportunity to sit with a Kevin Samuels, the same thing he does with an opportunity to sit with a No Jumper, okay, or any large platform. What does he do? He just repeats a bunch of other people's talking points and reiterates the same dumb shit that he says on the show. Good job, Myron.
Is right? You A, B, C, D, and E. Like, all right, now debate me. What's up?
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
No, I think you know more about me than I do myself. So you're saying no, obviously you do though, because you said that you warn guys about girls like me. So tell me about girls like me.
Just women in general. Like, I mean,
well, no, don't women in general, because you literally specifically said before we got on here that you did say that you warn guys about girls like me. So now that we're face to face, what kind of girl am I?
You're like other girls.
I'm not special.
Like, you're like other women that are.
So
like,
what makes you special then?
I never said I was. But you're trying to say, well, what makes me different from like a lot of women operate the way you do?
And how do I operate?
In general, what I just said before. Women, it's a dance between the two genders.
Bruh, stop beating around the bush. Just tell her what's up, dog.
Whatever it is that they're looking for. And a lot of girls play the game better than guys. We talk about this openly on our podcast. And we're teaching guys how to not necessarily get finesse and get what they want out of girls, which a lot of times is intimacy. But they're not.
He beating around the bush. She about to dig in his shit, bro. She about to dig in his shit.
But girls are easily able to obtain money, time, resource, attention, whatever it is. Girls are running laps around dudes. Which is why
Samuels is skilled in debate first, then you listen to make up what you make of what he's actually saying as a side effect of the fact that he'll always take someone down in debate.
Sure.
But I think what's going on in mainstream now is I do believe, from my perspective, if you put Myron up against somebody that's louder, more seasoned in debate tactic, they're going to seemingly get the upper hand on him, where he's got a little bit more of a laid-back approach and presents the information, but somebody else is verbally bodying him. And to a mainstream audience, they're like, oh, okay, it looks like they got the better of these red pill guys.
Well, I'll tell you what. Hold on real quick, and I'll let you continue. They tried to. Brittany Renner tried to body Myron. Myron overcame that, and she was eating out of his hand. What was his name? Akash.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So, of course, Donovan is going to do mental gymnastics and try his best to try to defend these dudes because he needs the platform. It's the only thing that's keeping him relevant. If he's not talking about some dating show, he's talking about what happened on the last episode of Fresh and Fit. So the Donovan Sharp Show is just commentary on Fresh and Fit at this point. And that's fine. He admitted to that himself. All right, so Fresh and Fit is the vehicle for him and Rollo Tomasi and that whole generation to not only try to stay relevant, but to try to introduce themselves to a younger demographic. And that's fine. You know, that's great. That's marketing. Do what you got to do. The issue is the amount of damage that's being done in that introduction. These young guys, their minds are already being ruined and destroyed by the time they're done watching some Fresh and Fit, right? So it's not a good strategy overall. You're bringing these dudes in with the wrong ideology, and all it's going to do is fuel this hate for women that, number one, is misguided, and number two, it's not beneficial to anybody. It's not going to make these guys' lives any better, and it damn sure isn't going to fix the women. So what is it going to do besides put some money in Fresh and Fit's pocket, and then a year, 2 years from now, when they're off doing whatever else they do to make money, they just ruined an entire generation of young, dumb, impressionable guys. Good job. You teaching these guys how to be better? No. You teaching them how to be manlier? No. You teaching them how to problem solve? No. What are you teaching them how to do? To level up so that they can acquire power, so that they can abuse women? Huh. So that's the strategy. The strategy is get money so that you have the power to treat women badly and get away with it.
I'm talking about Brittany Renner articulated herself well enough, as opposed to a chick from the nightclub that comes on Fresh and Fit and is starstruck to be on a podcast and cat got her tongue.
There's a difference between Kevin Samuels' debates and a Fresh and
Of course,
Fit.
Kevin Samuels is in his early 50s.
It's the easiest way to you got.
He's in vampire.
Yes. Debating sober women.
Right.
Yes.
Myron and Fresh are debating a room of women that are drinking. So when you add the element of liquor in there, you're going to get the women to act crazy, which is great.
Well, drunk actions are sober thoughts, and I'm gonna tell you. Hold on.
You know that women don't think well.
Listen, you're absolutely right. But alcohol lowers your inhibitions, which makes you far less likely to be deceptive. I'm not, and I know you're not trying to discredit what they're doing.
No. I think the women are being extremely honest. I just think that it gets too turned up too fast when they're wrong. Because the liquor's involved.
Yeah. Now that I would agree with, but that's part of the charm.
Well, there goes Donovan again trying to make excuses for these boys. But it's real simple. The same way that a lame dating coach would advise guys to go for drunk women because it's an easier target, it's like a wounded animal out in the jungle, is the same way that someone that needs to get the girls drunk before debating them, it's the same handicap. If you could only get a girl when she's drunk, you need that much of an advantage over her, then how is that any different than you needing the girl to be drunk in order to beat her in a debate? Debating isn't even a female strong point. That's like saying you need a girl to be hungover to beat her in soccer or to beat her in basketball. So you mean to tell me already as a man you have the advantage when it comes to debate and a logical discourse, and you mean to tell me you also need these women to be younger than you, less experienced than you, and drunk? You need that much of an advantage to come out on top in a debate with a 21, 22-year-old girl. That's fucking pathetic. That's pathetic, right? But this is what he's teaching these young boys, and this is what he's showcasing day in and day out. And any time that a girl actually knows how to carry herself, actually knows how to speak, actually has some comebacks and some valid arguments, he gets butthurt, he gets upset, he instigates an argument with her and then tries to kick her out.
To touch on what Rolo said about that DJ guy, I was alarmed when I got the notification that he was going in on Fresh. And it was at that moment I said, does this guy have their best interest at heart? Because I didn't like the clips that came from that, right?
Yeah.
How he was laying it. Like a friend wouldn't do that. Like that's a conversation you have offline.
That's right. Off the camera. Yeah.
Yeah. And then so I was just very disappointed when I saw that. I'm like,
Yeah, that's
"Fresh,
not something I would have done if I
do
were.
that to you, like,
Yeah.
and then continue to hang out with this cat thereafter. And then the thing, the Brittany Renner clip, that the only problem I had with the Brittany Renner clip was she said to Myron, "You're not special." And I think his response was something like, I never said I was. Right? But my response would have been, I am special. I'm Hotep Jesus. Yes, I do believe I am special. That's the only critique I had, and I think it could have been twisted. But when he kind of just let her, win that and say, well, I never said I was special, when he could have like you said.
That's exactly how I felt about both of those instances. It's just interesting how grown-ass men have very similar, understandings of these situations. When that DJ Academics thing happened, it was like, yo, DJ Academics is keeping it real. He's calling these dudes out. But, doing it in front of everybody was kind of fucked up. It was kind of whack. But at the same time, DJ Academics is an entertainer. He understands how these platforms work. He understands that you have to continue to deliver that value. You have to keep it interesting. You have to keep it spontaneous. You got to draw the crowd in. You got to draw the viewers in. So he's looking at it from a business/entertainment aspect first and foremost. So I got to respect that and be like, yo, but hey, it made for good TV. And he's incorporating the truth into that, whereas Fresh and Fit are doing that, but they're doing that with lies, bullshit, fluff. Come on, man. They're making up a narrative. At least DJ Academics is actually embracing a narrative and exploiting it. Now, what I thought was whack, though, was the fact that Fresh would still be chilling with this dude. One, Myron didn't defend him whatsoever, but that would be masculine. The next thing is that Fresh continued to hang out with this dude, you know, and that wouldn't be. So it's not like I didn't expect that from them. That's exactly how I would expect them to respond to that. So Fresh is still the sucker that takes disrespect and abuse off of Myron, and now you getting disrespected and abused on your own platform by DJ Academics. But again, no surprise there. You understand what I'm saying? Last time I saw Fresh, which was recently, I told him I should slap the shit out of you for what you said on No Jumper about me. And what did he do? He folded up like a little punk. I wish somebody would come and tell me that they're going to slap the shit out of me, because they would have to do that.
No, of course
tough
not.
love. This is tough love.
Right.
And we want to tighten him up because, like you said, he's our late night show, right?
He is.
And we want we as his elder, we want to tighten him up so that he doesn't get canceled and removed, and none of us have that opportunity. He doesn't have that opportunity. The people that need that information aren't getting that information. So we just want to tighten them up. So this is not personal. This is Big Brother.
So I already lost count of how many content creators that have worked with these dudes have the same type of criticism for their behavior and their antics. All right, so that was just a whole group of dudes that are familiar with them, know them personally, and have worked with Myron saying this. I also was one of those people that have worked with these dudes, and I've been saying this shit before any of these other guys finally got around to saying it. But now let's look at a clip from No Jumper, who was just recently working with these boys left and right, and they got the same type of criticism.
These hip hop clubs, because there's no section for nobody to just walk into the club anymore to have a good fucking time.
And we've had girls, like Lil Wayne came in the club, and Trey Songz and those guys, they'll come take your girls, bro.
Facts.
Like, you don't want her? Come over here.
And that's why I say it's so important to get your money right. Why I say, like, yo, have at least 6 months to a year saved of income, and then make at least 100 bands a year, like, which I think is very doable in today's day and age with the internet, or have a combination thereof. And then that's why I say you got to have had sex with 50 girls. Oh my God, you're a womanizer. Why? Because I know the average chick has had sex with around that many dudes by the time she gets married. You know?
They call him a womanizer and a misogynist because he says a lot of misogynistic shit. That's why they say that. Now, let's look at this advice, because he keeps giving this same advice. How many guys do we know that are successful and have been with many women previously, but they're still having issues with their current or last woman? It's a very common theme. So making a lot of money does not protect you from the current issues with women whatsoever. But this is some type of remedy for it. Then the next thing is sleep with 50 women. All right, so what exactly is that supposed to accomplish? I was with much more than 50 women before I even started remotely understanding women. So I don't understand how he's recommending that somehow a leg count is going to have you better understand women. First of all, if you're having these casual relationships with women, or you're having these one-night stands, or if you're having just sexual relationships with women, that's when you learn the least about women. Okay? You learn the most from women in platonic relationships and long-term romantic relationships, like living with women, like marrying women, okay? Being in touch with your sisters and your female cousins, getting in tune with the women that you work with and go to school with, talking to women that are older than you. That's how you get to understand women. But yet his advice is sleep with over 50 women and make a lot of money, and somehow magically you're not going to have problems with women.
So I need guys to be on the same sexual playing field as a woman, because the last thing you want to do is be in a position where your girl's more sexually experienced than you. Because what happens is when a girl knows what she's doing, she can manipulate you through sex. Yes. And then a lot of dudes that don't know what they're doing, they'll get finessed. Next thing you know, oh, I'm not having sex tonight. You need to take out the trash. Oh, I need you to cut the lawn. But she's going to start negotiating terms with you for sexual access and leveraging sex against you for compliance, which I tell guys you never want to be in that position. The only way you're going to get there is you're going to have to get experience with girls. And I know if you've had sex with at least 50 girls, we're not paying or tricking or doing anything stupid like that, you've probably developed a mindset where you can at least deal with women and understand their mindset, how they operate. You've probably broken through Disney fairy tales and everything else.
Because my perspective is going to be always top notch. Let's look at what's happening here. So you have an opportunity to go on No Jumper, which is like literally the second largest podcast platform At least that I can think of, because only because you got what? You got Joe Rogan, you got No Jumper, and you got Joe Buttons. All right? So you mean to tell me you're on a platform this large, and this is the best thing that you can bring. This is the most value that you can add on that platform. This is the most game that you got for guys, right? Is this nonsense that you haven't even experienced for yourself? Let's dissect this for a second. So you're talking about this is how you avoid getting finessed and fleeced by girls. I've witnessed Myron get finessed and fleeced by girls several times. And these are younger girls. These are girls that are like 24, 25, 26, right? There was a chick that finessed his ass out of $1,500. Said she was going to go invest it in day trading. She went and flipped the money and didn't give him shit. And he couldn't do anything about it. He was upset. He was calling me, what do I do? He's asking me, what do I do? Okay? So you get finessed by chicks. That would make you a hypocrite right there. But let's move forward a little bit more. He's talking about make sure that you have more sexual experience than the women that you're dating. All right. You were dating a chick, or you was messing with a chick just recently that's on OnlyFans seeking arrangements and was selling herself. So if she's prostituting herself, chances are she probably has more sexual experience than you. But you were running behind that chick and ended up getting her pregnant. So that would make you a hypocrite once again. Now, let's talk about actual relationships. He's talking about, oh, she's going to have the leverage in the relationship. Next thing you know, you're taking out the garbage. Okay, hold on. This is coming from a man who's admitted never having any long-term relationships with a woman, never having any serious or meaningful relationships with a woman, and never living with a woman. So when were you taking out the garbage? When did you experience how women begin to manipulate you in the relationship and leverage sex over you? When did you experience that? In your non-existent relationship? You were taking out the garbage in that imaginary time you lived with a woman? Bro, stop giving men advice on shit that you know nothing about.
Because the days and ages of you getting a girl that's a virgin are done. It used to be the father would give her to you as a virgin, and she would know how to act. But nowadays, I'm gonna keep it a stack. Feminists can get mad at me. Modern day society, modern day culture teaches women how to be horrible wives, horrible long-term girlfriends.
Horrible.
You got city girls out here.
WHORE.
Horrible. Like it teaches them to be promiscuous, date around, not be dutiful girlfriends, not cook and clean for you.
Hot girl summer.
You know, no offense to Cardi B, but you know, no, don't cook, don't clean, still got a ring.
So you made it to No Jumper, and all you could do is repeat a bunch of shit that we already knew, a bunch of problems and issues that we're already aware of. Most of which you're just repeating because you were a fan of the red pill. You were just watching a bunch of red pill videos. I mean, that's all you did was repeat a bunch of shit that you heard in red pill content. But you presented how many solutions? None whatsoever. What advice did you give guys? How could they get better results? It's 2022, bro. This interview happened in 2021. You mean in 2021 you're bringing up the fact that women aren't virgins before marriage anymore? Bro, women stopped being virgins before marriage long before Myron was even born. This isn't a new phenomenon, dude. But that's what you're harping on. What the fuck are we even talking about?
I told guys, like, you got to have these things in place because now you're going to be able to dictate terms and you're going to be in a strong negotiating position where it's your way or the highway, and she won't be able to finesse you with sex. Because so many dudes that are successful get finessed by girls just because they're bad, and they get a bad deal, like a chick that's been ran through whatever. And there's a bunch of studies out there to show that, you know, promiscuous women tend to not be good wives or whatever it may be. I'm not going to have that discussion right now.
I'll even go as far as to say that, let's say that I gave him the benefit of the doubt and said that he had been with over 50 women. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I can't even verify that. The results that he seems to have with women that I've witnessed does not seem like you've hit over 50 women, bro. Sorry. But let's just say he has. I know for a fact he's making well over $200K a year. And he's 6'4". So let me get this straight. You're supposedly fit. You've been with over 50 women. You make more money than the top 5% of the male population. But yet you're still doing terrible with women. So your advice isn't even panning out for yourself.
What I will say is, I want guys, when you have these 5 things in place, 100 grand a year, 6 months to a year of savings, 50 girls, in shape, and you're 35 years old, you're in a position now where you're experienced enough where you can like disearn girls that aren't worth your time.
So now let's see what happens when a grown-ass man confronts Myron about something that he said and is inviting him to a debate. You know, where intellectual men discuss their ideas, come to some type of understanding. If they disagree, at least they disagree respectfully and they heard each other's views and got an opportunity to argue their points. Let's see how he responds to that type of environment.
So I just want to ask you about that. Why do you think I might be blue-pilled?
Well, from what I remember, I'm trying to remember. I would say blue. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, which video was?
Oh yeah.
Yo, so what's up?
Yeah, I heard you were talking shit on another podcast. And what did I say? And then Fresh was like, "Well, actually, what you said," and Fresh threw him under the bus. Fresh is so unaware and lacking in any awareness. Think about this.
Yeah, a lot like what happened when Brittany Renner addressed him and what he said about her. Yeah. And when I came to check him, we'll see what happens when I confronted him in just a little bit.
So basically, we have a lot of people that talk about us on the internet, and some of it is slander, some of it is defamation, and using our content in their videos. And we're like, okay, cool. We've waited out for a while for you to stop. You're still doing it. So, you know what? Cool.
Yeah, we know Fresh is a big-time fussy, just simply because of his relationship with Myron. Like, I was never really able to respect Fresh just simply because of the relationship he has with Myron. Like, from day one, when I saw how Myron talks to him, I was like, bro, you're like a battered housewife. And I tell him that to his face all the time. Last time I saw him, that's exactly what I said. I said, when you see your husband, tell him I said this, this, and that. Because that's what Fresh is. Fresh is a wife, all right, at this point. And an abused wife is that, a mistreated wife. But look at him up here with his feminine-ass response. So when grown men criticize you, right, question your integrity, call you out for lying, for being a fraud, for scamming, manipulating, your response is that it's defamation of character. That is literally how females respond to adequate criticism. That is exactly how women respond to judgment and criticism that they don't like. They accuse you, right, of insulting them and bashing them rather than just pointing out factual things that you noticed and would like them to address and be accountable for. So these dudes' entire response, okay, to conflict is feminine. The way they react to other dudes is feminine, and the way they react to females is feminine.
Now we're going to take legal action against you because obviously you're attacking our character and our integrity. So at that point, hey, it's all fair game.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Okay, so I want you guys to repeat what he said. He said, yeah, we did copyright strikes against you, saying you misused our content. Why? Because you attacked our character. Criticism, and their response is, let me file a DMCA strike, which has nothing to do with criticism.
Exactly. So again, I'm going to point out how this is very feminine. And I'm not saying this to be insulting them. I'm saying this because this is where I observe this behavior with little girls and modern grown women. You remember being on the playground and a girl say something to you and then you respond to her and then she runs and she goes tells the teacher, but she also exaggerates it to get you in trouble, and then the teacher believes her because, you know, she's a girl, so she's automatically a victim. That's exactly what these grown-ass men are doing. They're over here filing a fraudulent claim, which is lying, right? They're exaggerating what happened to make you the bad guy and get you in trouble. Get you in trouble with the authorities. That's exactly what women do. This is why I tell guys, don't mess with women at your job. Don't mess with women at school. Because if you offend them in any way, whether you meant to or not, whether you're in the wrong or not, when they go and tell the school dean or whatever, you're getting thrown out of the school. Straight up, no questions asked. You hurt a girl's feelings, you're out of here. Okay? If you're dealing with a girl at your job and it doesn't go well, she's going to go to HR and she's going to tell them whatever she needs to tell them. And next thing you know, you're getting pulled from your cubicle. You got to pack up your desk and you're out of here. There's no conversation. There's no burden of proof. Nothing like that. You are out of here because, you know, a woman said. These are the exact tactics that these grown dudes are using. These are men using the same tactics that females use.
That's what we did. We left a Google review. That's what we did. We left a Google review saying, your broom asked me for a fight. Now that broom don't want to fight. And that broom doesn't pick up dust. That's what we did.
For any of you who haven't seen the interview with Tim Pool. Another opportunity on a huge platform to represent us well, to say something meaningful and impactful, and leave a good impression of the manosphere. And what do?
Well, you can't file a DMCA over it.
Apparently not. You can't.
Yeah. So what, they just get it reversed or what?
Yeah, it's a long story, but
it's not a long story. It's not a long story. YouTube was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Yo, take this shit down. And your little bitch ass ran to YouTube like, we're retracting it. Please don't delete our channel. Please don't delete our channel. And you retracted all.
Well, you can't file a DMCA over it. Apparently not. You can't.
Exactly. They go up there and embarrass themselves as well as the entire manosphere. But this is the ambassadors. This is who we have to represent us right now.
How you sent armed henchmen
shut up
throughout the streets of Miami.
How could no? I was listen. I was going. I was waiting to go. There was no henchman.
Okay.
There was no henchman.
But you were in Miami?
No, I wasn't. I was
down to
here.
pull up.
I was here. I was waiting for them. I've been texting them.
Oh.
I've been texting Walter like, yo, you want to do it? Stop doing that. Put the original. I texted him a couple of things, right? And no response. Seen, but no response. So I'm not gonna send a goon. If you look at the video that we said, I said we're gonna fight legally, and now all of a sudden I'm gonna send a goon to bust down your door and fuck you up. And no, I was going. Let's go. Let's do this. Put some gloves on. We'll go to a gym. We'll just do our thing. That's it.
And you wanted to fight both of them back to back?
Yeah, one after the other, just like Pride.
All right. So here we have another grown-ass man with a very similar situation that I had. Myron was running his mouth. I called him like a man. I said, you're telling lies on me. You're running your mouth. You're talking shit. Say it to my face. Let's meet up. I'm going to come and see you. He was acting like a tough guy. When I came and saw him, not only did he not want to fight, but he pulled out a firearm. But here goes Preach telling you the same thing, that this dude is running his mouth. He disrespected him, disrespected his wife. He said, I want to come and see y'all. And they want to, back out and send a formal apology and act all innocent. This is not manly behavior. And see, for the weak-minded, this is promoting violence. It's not promoting violence. There's a difference between a bear being violent and you poking a bear and the bear attacking you because you're poking the bear. All right? That's a very, very distinct difference right there. So nobody was promoting violence. No one was being violent. But when you have a man that's crossing that line, and when men deal with men, there is always an underlying threat of violence, because we have the capacity to wield violence. That's part of being strong, is that you have the ability to hurt someone else, okay? But that can be used to hurt people or it could be used to protect yourself. So when someone who has, supposed to have the same capability is crossing that line, you went from words to now physicality. So what's up? What's up? You were instigating a physical conflict. Now it's here. But now you want to run like a little bitch and act like, no. I'm not a street dude. All of a sudden you're not a street dude, but you were talking like a street dude though. And in my opinion, anytime you say something about a man's kids or a man's woman, you should be prepared to fight that man. Straight up. There's no way that you're going to be disrespecting a dude's kids or his woman and not be prepared to fight that man. Don't make those comments if you can't deal with that type of consequence. That's manly shit.
Okay.
Did you have any kind of communication, though, with the dudes who showed up at their apartment?
Had any kind of communication?
Yeah.
Yeah. These guys want to take pictures. Large J, well, Large J didn't show up, but Large J, the guy, the photographer, wanted to take pictures of us. We said, well, if we get there, we'll talk.
Okay.
And finally, this shit happened, so we're like, I'm not dealing with you motherfuckers. Like, best luck to you, but now this motherfucker's going to talk to us and everything and stuff. Nah, B.
Now, if you go do something with him, then it's going to look like you're really...
So, like I said, I spoke to this dude before I went over there to step to him. Myron knew exactly what it was about. He's well aware of all the personal issues that me and him have with each other, but yet he chose to lie to his fan base and say that Abba and Preach sent me. Blatant lie. He didn't misinterpret it. He didn't think maybe that's what happened. He knew damn well that's not what happened. I told him I was coming over there for my grievances and the shit that he said about me. But yet he told all of his fans and he's told the public that Abba and Preach sent me. Why? Why would you even make up said lie? But this is who you're dealing with. Someone that lies about everything. Not some things, everything. From the smallest thing to the biggest thing, this dude is just disingenuous and dishonest and blatantly lying to manipulate a narrative. But then he always tends to get caught in these lies, but doesn't stop them from continuing to lie, though.
No, it's not what happened. It's not what happened. We were actually on another podcast when that shit happened, and then we got to our Airbnb, and then we opened our social media, and then the message got flooded. Yo, bro, check this. Check it out. I'm like, ooh. That's. And I was like, yeah, that's. Because I met the dude when he went there. Because he went there, and he met. That's Ayindei. That's the dude. We used to work with him. So no, there was no paid henchman. I was going myself.
He's like, I'm the henchman.
I'm just gonna do what you said. You challenged me. I'll go. I said I'll go. I've been texting, no response.
Yo, Amu. Come outside, my nigga. Come outside, my nigga. Come outside, my nigga.
Being about situations, I'm not beefing with no nigga for years. I'm choosing violence. And we get this shit over with. And y'all need to get this shit over with.
I love it.
Next story. The drama surrounding the Fresh and Fit podcast continues, and things still seem to be heating up. Last night during after hours, a former Fresh and Fit podcast team member broke into the studio during their live stream, and guns were drawn. Fresh and Fit's podcast focuses mainly on female psychology and dating, among other categories. Former team members Ayindei and Large made their way past security to ambush the live stream. In the behind-the-scenes video posted to YouTube, you can hear someone off camera say, Ayindei is here. Moments later, you see the girls realize that things are escalated and make their way onto the balcony to hide. From there, the situation seems to escalate. You can hear Myron say, don't do it, giving the guys a warning not to enter his apartment while having his gun drawn. In Miami, stand your ground law states you have the right to defend yourself against any other party that you reasonably perceive to be imposing a threat of imminent bodily harm or death to you or another individual.
Well, AD can't seem to get my name right, but he did get Myron being scared for his fucking life right. I tell you that much. Because if he was justified in pulling out that firearm, that means your pussy ass knew you was gonna get beat, and you was in fear of your life. If that's the case, then you should have kept my name out of your mouth. If that's the case, you shouldn't be lying and telling people that I have their money that you scammed. If you want to scam people out of their money and get caught, you need to own up to that. Don't put that shit on me and I ain't got nothing to do with it. And don't act like a little bitch when I come and see you, and don't pull out a weapon for an unarmed man. That would be something that a female would need to do.
The Fresh and Fit guys have since apologized to their subscribers, promising not to engage in more beef. But it does not seem like things will be getting back to normal for the Fresh and Fit podcast anytime soon. Both YouTube channels have released a statement of their own reacting to what happened during the live stream invasion. For those of you that think that this was actually staged, check our IG, Fresh Fit Podcast. Police were alerted, and this has got to be the dumbest criminal of all time. CSI also showed up. From their own YouTube channel, Authentic Alphas, Ayindei and Large share their side of the story in a video titled The Lies of Fresh and Fit Podcast. They explain Myron Gaines pays for 99% of the male guests to attend the show, while Ayindei was paid to book the women and states he's responsible for the show's success. In short, they claim the Fresh and Fit Podcast paid to keep up fake persona to create content and monetize.
Fresh and Fit were not even big or like very well known until
I would have blew that nigga head off if I was in Florida.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to when AD says that to me. I ain't worried about none of that gang bullshit, all that tough guy shit. I ain't buying it. But hey, if he got to say whatever he got to say to be relevant on that show, the same way Fresh is just like furniture on the Fresh and Fit show, I guess AD is like furniture on No Jumper. I don't know. Tell him I said it.
No, because like most black girls
Fresh just said that?
annoying, how to put this, ratchet, and they don't know how to like get reserved. You're like the complete opposite.
You are not the stereotype. You are
Wow.
not the stereotype.
You are not the same. That's all.
Oh,
So I
man.
will give you that compliment to
What's your Instagram?
They really are shooting themselves in the foot.
Which are traits of feminine women with.
So yeah, as you,
I can't stand by that one.
if you've ever met a black woman before, you can
As a
probably
man
guess
who
that this
loves
is not a
black
very
women.
popular opinion.
As a man who loves black women, and Fresh and Fit, those are my guys, but I can't stand by that shit. I don't fuck
Bro,
with that.
what the fuck?
Yeah, that was
I got a black daughter. You know what I'm saying?
This nigga is dark himself. How you gonna say I'm not a dark? Like, how
He's
you
from
gonna
Barbados, isn't he?
How you gonna say that though?
So just a couple months ago, these dudes was back to back collaborating, and now these same dudes is trying to distance themselves from these guys in their comments because it's bad for business and it doesn't help anybody. It's useless. All the comments that they made about black women were like, they weren't even facts. See, when I talk about black women, I don't disrespect them. bash them. I don't insult them. I just state the facts. Now, of course, they're going to be insulted by that, but it doesn't matter. That wasn't my intention. If they want to take it that way, or that's the narrative that they want to pitch, go ahead, knock yourself out. You're actually just going to expose yourself because you're going to have a hard time finding the soundbite where I called you a name or disrespected you. But what you will find is all the facts that I stated that you're avoiding debating. So I make it real easy for them to address what I say. Challenge what I say. Tell me how I'm wrong. Prove how I'm wrong with what I said. Of course they can't do that, right? So then they can come with the name calling and all that. That's fine. Do that all you want. The point is, you won't actually be able to prove that I said anything like that. Whereas these guys, that's all they say. They're doing the opposite. They're not showing any facts. They're not showing any studies. They're not making any valid points. No, they're just being disrespectful to black women. Again, that's not G shit.
I just can't believe that they would say that and not realize how bad the reaction was going to be.
Yeah. How long have they been doing YouTube for?
Like a year or two.
Like a couple years, like 1 year, 2 years, yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna, even though obviously I have my own personal grievances.
Because you basically believe what they said, you just would never say it, right?
All right, well, you're welcome, because I know you guys, I hate it when I go too long without talking about these dudes. So that's the current, you know what I mean? The current shit that's being said about them right now. It's coming from their own in-group, their own inner circle. So just a minute ago, it was DJ Academics. Now it's Hotep Jesus. Who knows? Before you know it, it'll be Donovan Sharp criticizing these guys. I'm out of here, man. Keep it authentic. Peace.